Learning a new language can be a little frustrating, especially if you are constantly translating everything you want to say in your head. Every time you intend to say something, you end up spending a long time trying to translate every single word to your target language. As a result, speaking a new language becomes discouraging and tiring. If you want to change that and start thinking in your target language, this video is for you. Learning a new language is a fantastic thing. You get in touch with a new culture and learn new ways to express yourself, not to mention all the benefits your brain can gain from it, like the improvement of memory, the capacity for multitasking, the ability to maintain focus, and many more. But it also comes with some difficulties, one of which is the fact that many people can't communicate fluently and effectively, because instead of already thinking in their target language, they first think in their native language and then translate what they want to say into their target language, causing their speech to sound confusing and strange to natives of that specific language. If you relate to this situation, here are some things you can do to escape the trap of always translating everything in your head. Before we can get into the strategic way to think in your target language, there is something that needs to be improved, and that is your confidence in speaking another language. I have an example of my own. I am currently studying Spanish, and every time I am in class and there is something that I want to say, I often keep it to myself, because I don't feel confident enough and I'm afraid I'll make some mistakes. But I've realized I don't need to feel that way. I'm in the process of learning a new language, and of course I am going to make mistakes. I don't need to strive for perfection. All I need is to be able to communicate in order to develop my speaking skills. And I'm never going to be able to do that because I'm too afraid of making mistakes or not saying a perfectly grammatical sentence. I believe many of us take a long time translating everything in our heads to deliver a perfect phrase, but instead of helping us, this behavior actually gets in our way of speaking fluently and thinking in our target language, because we are so worried about saying something wrong that we can't say anything at all. So let's forget about perfection and start being more confident with our language skills. Don't be afraid to make mistakes, that's completely normal. You'll only be able to think like a native speaker if you let go of your fear of not sounding perfect. If not even people who speak the language you want to learn can say things 100% correctly, why should you? Have you heard about chunks? A chunk is a combination of individual words that are used in fixed expressions. An example of a chunk in English would be, "That's what I'm talking about." In Spanish, it could be something like, "¿Cómo estás?" These are phrases that can be learned as a whole. You don't get to worry about the grammar of it or what every single word means. You understand and use it as a chunk, as a whole, as a complete sentence. By learning and practicing a new language using chunks, you can get your brain into the habit of working less. Instead of paying attention to all the grammar details and translating every single word, you simply identify what the expression means. Therefore, you can not only learn in a more practical way, but also speak more fluently and naturally. Of course, you need to learn the grammatical rules of a language, but don't fixate too much on them to the point where you can't communicate efficiently. Native speakers don't think about grammar rules in their everyday conversations. They simply use the expressions they have learned throughout their lives. As Dr. Julian Northbrook says in the book Think English, Speak English, the point is, what is important is not how many words you know, but your knowledge of how they are combined. You might find this a bit strange, but it actually works. I mean, you don't need to have out-loud conversations with yourself. In fact, I actually do that because I think it really helps with my pronunciation. But if you don't want to do that, you know those thoughts that are constantly in our minds. For example, "Oh, I need to buy more sugar." You can start training your brain to have those small thoughts in the language you want to learn. Every time you think about something, try to think about it in your target language. By doing that constantly, with time, your mind will get used to thinking in another language, and you will do it unconsciously. But don't force yourself to do it. Do it in a natural way. If you don't know how to say something, that's okay. Don't focus on getting everything perfect. Just focus on adjusting your brain to think more and more in your target language. For you to think and speak like a native of a specific language, you need to be in constant touch with that language. YouTube helped me a lot with learning English. When I was a teenager, I would spend hours watching vlogs, makeup tutorials, and videos of funny moments from One Direction. And that helped me a lot. Not only was I able to be in constant touch with English, but I was also able to see how native speakers communicate realistically. I've learned numerous chunks, and every time I would do my makeup, I would pretend I was filming a YouTube video in English. Therefore, my mind got used to thinking in English, and since then, I've been able to communicate without translating everything I want to say. I simply think in English. So, immerse yourself in your target language by reading books in that language, watching movies or TV series, watching YouTube videos, which is my favorite way to get in touch with a new language, listening to podcasts, having conversations with native speakers or with yourself, playing video games, and the list goes on. In order for you to start thinking in your target language and stop translating every word you hear or every word you want to say, you need to let go of your fear of making mistakes. Language learning is like everything in life. The more you practice, the better you get. So don't let your fear of making mistakes stop you from actually speaking your target language. As Einstein once said, anyone who has never made a mistake has never tried anything new. Focus on chunks instead of individual words. Grammar and vocabulary are extremely important, but what is also important is learning expressions native speakers actually use in their daily lives. Try to have as many conversations in your target language as you can, including with yourself. And don't forget to be in constant touch with the language you want to learn. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope it was helpful to you or that it inspired you in some way. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Have a lovely day or night. Bye!